four-time Miss Olympia Jay Cutler. Welcome to my channel, Jay Cutler TV, and make sure to stay in tune with the newest and updated videos. Subscribe below, guys. Thank you so much for following along.
This, we need to do this now.
How about with a blockage?
100% blockage in one artery and 90% in another artery. And, you know, again,
there was a third one that was a little bit more minimal, 75%. It was smaller, they said.
Smaller, and they said hopefully that's something that could be treated with medication. They didn't feel that they needed to stent that one. So, but I was told my heart was functioning at an extremely low rate, and that they were. I was told on several occasions that they were astounded that I was still there breathing and still there to fight, because they said apparently my heart had become so resilient and so strong from my training, the way I train, my training techniques, my diet, everything that I do, that it was able to literally take over for the whole heart. I mean, because I've been training like, you don't get this kind of blockage overnight. This kind of blockage comes over 20 to 30 years. And so I've been dealing with severe blockage probably for a few years. So I've been probably, if you want to say, a ticking time bomb for the last few years, but never feeling it because my body compensated for it and was so strong. So yes, I mean, just to go to the next part, I was wheeled into surgery. Thank God I didn't have to have open heart surgery.
Thank God.
Yeah, they were able to put stents in, which they were able to do through my wrist.
And you have big veins.
Yeah, otherwise it would have to be through the groin. But yeah, they did it through my wrist. And I'll tell you one thing right now, one of the most shocking parts about it was when I said to the doctor, and I was in shock, so I don't even know what I was saying at this point, but I do remember saying something like, how long is this going to take? I'm going to be asleep, but how long is this going to take? And he said to me, no, you're not going to be asleep. And I cursed at him. I said, are you effing kidding me? I'm not going to be asleep? You can do heart surgery on me and I'm going to be awake? Now, you have to know at this point, guys, I've never been in a hospital for myself. I've never had surgery. I've never had anesthesia. I've never had a broken bone. I've never had anything. I've never had surgery on my mouth. Nothing. So this was like going from 0 to 150. And when he told me I was going to be awake, I thought, I'm in the middle of a nightmare and I need to wake up. So basically, for however long it took, and it felt somewhere around like an hour or two, I don't even know, I'm listening to them talk and I'm feeling them doing what they're doing. And sometimes they're asking me to breathe deep and this and that. And it was just a living, complete nightmare. And then at one point, towards the end of the surgery, something went on with my heart where I think I started, it started to beat really fast or something, because the doctor, one of the interns kind of said something like, oh my God, he's going into defib or something like that. I don't know what he said, the exact words, and I heard the machine going, and then everything just calmed down again. So I don't know if it was a temporary phenomenon. I thought I was going to have another heart attack, but that's what it was. It was really the 20 hours that I had the heart attack, the whole way through, lived with it, lived through 3 periods where I'm pretty certain I was fading away, fought out of them, and then got to the hospital the next day, and I'm here to speak about it.
When's the last time you actually went to the doctor?
Guys, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. There's no reason for me to lie. I mean, the truth of the matter is, and that's part of what I want to talk about here, I haven't gone to the doctor in, it's probably well over 20 years. I mean, I very rarely ever get sick. If I get sick, I never take medicine for it. I pretty much just in a couple of days, it goes away. My body fights it. You know, I don't have any medical issues. I've never really had any concern about myself having any type of a problem other than like a back injury. That's a different type of a thing. So I just didn't go to doctors because I'm like, yeah, I don't need to go to doctors. First of all, I don't like doctors. I don't want to go to doctors. I don't like hospitals. I don't like doctors. I don't like needles. I don't like any of that stuff. So I shy away from it. But, you know, I didn't go for a long time. And I'm not mad at myself for not going, because I really didn't expect this to happen. But the truth of the matter is, had I been going, who knows? Maybe they would have, even if I was just going for regular checkups, maybe something in a checkup 15 years ago, 10 years ago would have said, hey, your cholesterol's a little high. That's a little strange because you eat so well. Let's dig into this a little bit. Maybe this is something that was preventable from going this far if I would have learned about it. So what I'm really want to talk about here is that if any of you guys out there are like me, and trust me, I am the most stubborn person in the world when it comes to going to. I didn't want to go to the ER, and trust me, I was having a heart attack. I didn't want to go.
Why did you not want to go?
I didn't want to go for 2 reasons. Number one, part of me believed that there was nothing wrong with me. I'd be fine. Part of me was just my normal stubborn self, like I don't want to go to the doctor or whatever. But I think there was that small part of me that was worried that something was wrong, that something was out of my control, and that I was going to hear it, and I didn't want to. So I think there was that small part of me that was scared.
I think a lot of men, especially bodybuilder men, would feel the exact same way you do. I never want to go to the doctor either. I'm always the type where I always say it's going to pass. Luckily, I'm rarely sick, just like you. But I think, once you get into bodybuilding, a lot of time we don't want to go to the doctor because we're afraid of what they might say. So especially if it's you do competitive bodybuilding or you do PEDs or whatever, it's something we don't want to talk to doctor because we know how they're going to react, we know what they're going to say, we know what they could potentially say, and we don't want to hear any bad news. I think the last thing we want to hear is, well, you have to get off this, or you have to stop competing, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. So I think that's part of the deal too, right?
Yeah, I think it's all of that stuff, and then I think also because as bodybuilders or as an athlete, any elite level athlete who is very serious about the training, they don't want anything to stop them from continuing. They don't want to hear anything that says you need to slow down, or if you keep doing this you're going to die, or whatever. We just want to keep going, and so I think there was a very small part of me that had that fear also of going and hearing something. But I mean, thank God that my girlfriend did what she did. Thank God you did what you did. Because otherwise, I don't know how much longer I would have lasted. I did last for 20 hours. The doctor said I should have not lasted more than an hour. Like that, my attack was so severe. They said any normal human being would not have made it. They almost don't know how I made it. But again, I've been stubborn all these years, and I haven't been going just for regular checkups. Just talking about regular checkups, going to the regular health practitioner just to have your blood drawn every once in a while, just to have them listen to your heart, just anything. I'm not saying that would have prevented anything, but who knows? It might have prevented something, and I wouldn't have had this happen. Maybe I could have been on medication earlier in my life and never had this episode, never had a life-threatening episode. So, that's part of the reason why I'm talking about it here, because from now on, I'm going to be diligent.
That was going to be my next question.
No, I'm going to be. I don't have a choice, because now, listen, I've come. I know I came close to not being here, and I'm not ready to go. I mean, I have a lot to accomplish. I mean, I still want to, more than anything, teach people, mentor people, inspire people, train as many clients as possible, help them reach their goals. I still have some goals for myself personally. I have a lot of really good friends, family, beautiful girlfriend. I have my dogs. I have a lot to live for, and listen, I know, people say, oh, well, you're 50. I feel like I'm 30. I feel like we
certainly act like 30.
Well, we train in a gym with, some of the best bodybuilders in the world, and nobody out-trains us. We train just as hard as anybody. Anybody who trains with us, gets killed by us. I mean, we're right in there, so we don't feel like our age, and we're never going to feel like our age. So I feel like I still have a long way to go. So, I mean, this was a serious wake-up call. I mean, I did see my cardiologist today, which, we talk about. Will be in the video for the first time. And I'm going to have to see him regularly. There's some things I'm going to have to make adjustments to my life now, without question, that I wish I had made earlier. But again, I'm not angry about myself. I really, truly believed I was fine. This is a complete shock to me, but it happened to me.
And it can happen to anyone.
And it can happen to anyone, because the truth of the matter is that if it's in your genes, you can live the cleanest life possible. I mean, we want to talk about real quickly our very, very close dear friend Sean Perrine, who was an editor-in-chief of Flex, Muscle and Fitness. Everybody loved him. He walked around with like 3% body fat year-round, picture of health, looked great, always felt great. Passed away at my age, like from cancer out of nowhere. So these things can happen to the strong. And then if you are somebody who does push the limits and does take PEDs, who competes a lot and pushes the body to that level, hey, I have nothing against that. Do that if that's what you want to do, but think about maybe taking care of yourself.
Preventative measures.
Preventative measures, because I've been a natural athlete pretty much my whole entire life, and I haven't even competed in 7 years. I've been taking off, and look what happened to me. So definitely one of the messages that we want to get out here, one of them is, go see a doctor. Don't be stubborn like me. It's not a good move.
Man, I mean, I've been there for the whole thing, and just to hear you talk about it is not easy. So all I can say is I'm really glad you're still here. I'm really glad that I was able to take you, that you let me take you, because you didn't want to go, believe it or not. But you know what? I don't fault you either, because I would have, like I told you, I would have done the exact same thing. I would have given you a hard time. I would have not want to go, and I don't know why. Some people will say, well, "Why would you not go?" But everyone's different, and I know you're not the only one to feel that way about doctors and all that stuff. I'm just really glad you're still here. I'm really glad that you were willing to tell your message to everyone, because I think I think a lot of people will relate to the way you felt, to the way I feel. And it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. Your life is not. And granted, some of you guys, maybe you don't have insurance. Maybe you don't want to go to the hospital because, oh my God, it's going to cost a fortune. But you know what? No amount of money is worth your life at the end of the day.
Yeah, and there's without a doubt, and that's the main message here. And also, I really want people to understand that I was told by the physicians who worked on me, and I was worked on by some of the best. They were astounded by a couple of things. They were astounded by the fact that I lasted through 20 hours of that. They were astounded that for the last how many years I've been training at the level I've been training at with this heart condition. And they were also astounded, and this is one of the best things possible to say, that I came out of this with almost zero heart damage whatsoever. So,
wow.
And they said, with the amount of time that it took you to get to the ER, you should have suffered heart damage. So I also want to say, that, it's my lifestyle as well. I did make the mistake of not going to doctors, but I've lived a very healthy lifestyle. I'm in the gym all the time. I do my cardio. My training methods, as you know, have geared towards a lot of muscular endurance and building of the pain threshold, and a lot of mind over matter. So I know
you're a lifetime non-smoker. You never had a drink your entire life. That's rare.
Yeah.
You told that to the doc. They were like, really?
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of the contributing factors that go to this. So my situation was pretty much about 100% genetic. But listen, that's if it's me, it could be 1 in 10 people. It could be out there. So, but it was my lifestyle that saved my life in terms of getting me through this. If I had not lived the lifestyle that I've been living, I never would have made it. So part of the message is also make sure you're taking care of yourself too. I mean, do your cardio year round, even if you don't like it. And I have my cheat meals every once in a while, but I stick to a healthy diet. I try to make it balanced, try to have some balance, and these things could save your life one day. So even though we're bodybuilders, and even though we're extreme, and I wanted to get back up on stage this year actually for my 50th birthday. Doesn't mean you can't also watch your health too, and stay healthy. And I think that's really, really important for you guys out there, because no matter how many bodybuilding trophies you win, even if you turn pro, it's not going to mean anything if they take you in a box and stick you underground. Sure. So definitely see your doctors and take care of yourself. And from here, I'm sure we're gonna. I have some plans from here, so I'm not going to let this. This has been a very humbling and difficult situation for me psychologically, more so than physically. I mean, physically I feel pretty well. I mean, I don't, it took me a few days, but I feel rather well. I feel as if nothing happened to me. Mentally, there's a lot of fear involved now. There's, getting back to the gym. There's the fear of something happening in the gym. There's a fear of another attack. I know all these things are natural, but I think it's even more amplified for athletes, because we want to go back to doing what we did before. We're not just a sedentary. I'm not a sedentary person who just has a job and they have to just get back to that. I want to go back to full force in the gym, and that's going to be scary for me. But I'm going to come out of this on top. I know that, and I will be back on stage again. I don't care whether a heart attack tried to take me down. It's not going to keep me down off that stage. I'm going to be back.
I have no doubt, Biggie. I thank you for telling your story. I actually was thinking about doing that before you brought it up, but I didn't know how we're gonna react. So I'm really glad that you felt the same way I did. And as you always do, you always try to teach other and share your knowledge and share your experiences, and that says a lot about you as a person. We're gonna do some more of these follow-ups, you guys, as he's getting back into the groove of things, as we keep following up with his doctors, his cardiologists, and we also want to do an episode with Dr. Rand, because we, of course, told Dr. Rand. Actually, he found out and he contacted us right away to make sure he was okay. And so we want to do an episode with Dr. Rand and Eric, which I've been wanting to do for years, actually, to have you both on the same show and talk about performance-enhancing drugs, or TRT or HRT, whatever you want to call it, and possible heart attack and how it could possibly be prevented. What does he think about people that are either aging, because most people that are doing TRT obviously are aging, and risk of heart attack, and cholesterol and all that stuff, because we're not doctors, but he is. So it was actually nice to be able to talk to him and get his take on what happened to you. And it'll be interesting for him to tell you guys what he thinks about it, because a lot of time we don't want to talk about that stuff with regular doctors, because we know how they possibly gonna tell you or feel. So
I think most regular doctors aren't really schooled in what it's like to be an athlete, and what some even supplements, they don't even know supplements they think can kill you, so they don't really know, and they can't really give the best advice. But somebody like Dr. Rand, we want to tie him into this, because we want to use this situation at least to teach people in our sport, bodybuilding, where there are PEDs, where there are people who want to go on TRT, where there are people who want to use growth hormone. Can you do it safely? How can it be done safely? And what's the BS versus the real stuff? Because there's a lot of BS out there. There's a lot of studies out there that prove that things are a lot safer than these doctors say. So Dr. Rand is the man that we want to talk to about it. So yeah, we want to get him on camera to make this a complete story, and that'll be great. I can't wait to do that with him.
Merlin, I'm so glad you're still here. Thank you for telling your story. This is Dave Mad Max 6 for BBL by Broser, and we're out. All right, Big E, so tell me where we are and what we're doing here.
Well, today was my first visit to my cardiologist after my recent heart attack. Feels very weird to say that. So it's the first time meeting him and sitting down and pretty much just going over what happened to me, and what can I expect, and what to do from here. And
how many weeks are we after this happened?
We're about 2 weeks and a couple of days after the actual event, and 2 weeks after I was released from the hospital.
Okay.
So I've been been home pretty much, just recovering, and just trying to get my appetite back, trying to get a lot of rest, slowly get back into work. Just get back to sort of like my normal lifestyle. Obviously, I haven't been in the gym or anything like that yet.
How do you feel though? Before you actually, what I want to know is, before you actually saw the doctor, how do you feel physically?
Well, the first 5 or 6 days were tough because my heart was actually still swollen from the actual heart attack, from the surgery itself. Just like you would have, if you trained really hard and your leg muscle was swollen and it hurt for a few days later. That's kind of like I had post-exercise muscle soreness in my heart. So it was difficult to breathe sometimes. It was difficult to lay down. It was difficult to switch positions while laying down, because it kind of felt like I had, like a big ball in my chest. And that was a little bit scary and unnerving, without a doubt. But the doctors did assure me that that was going to go away, and it did. It did. It took about 5 or so days, and I don't feel that anymore. I'm taking various medications. Each was having kind of interesting side effects. I think because of the increased circulation that my body wasn't used to. I was having some headaches. I was having some really like skin itchiness, like almost feeling like a rash.
Maybe it's the hair.
It was, so a couple of different things that I was feeling, and those things have gone away too. So really doing my daily activities now, just normal daily activities, just, cooking, eating, showering, doing some work and stuff like that, I feel perfectly fine. I really feel perfectly fine physically. I'm not tired. I feel like I'm ready to go to the gym and work out, but obviously I'm not going to. But yeah, I feel really good, like I wouldn't have known anything happened.
Okay. Mentally now, before you came here, I know, we've been talking, of course, during those past 2 weeks, and I know it's been really hard for you, not only on you, but everyone that knows you mentally. So before you actually came here, you had some concerns. How do you feel now after you spoke to the doctor mentally about this whole thing?
Well, let me tell you, without a doubt, you know, I know that it's kind of common to have some sort of depression after having heart attacks. It's not an uncommon thing. I think it's very, very difficult for me as an athlete, and probably for any athlete, because, you know, we're so used to being strong, we're so used to being fit, we're not used to being sick, anything being wrong with us. You know, we feel like Superman. So for me to get hit with this and actually be so debilitated was very, very difficult for me to accept. As we delve further into this story and I talk a little bit more about the actual event and what I went through, it was probably one of the most scary and profoundly difficult situations I've ever found myself in. There's a lot for me to tell about that. So that's still having its effect on me as well. Things that I'm remembering about what happened during the 20-hour period I was having the heart attack. And then, of course, you know, there's the psychological factor, and I discussed it with a doctor because, you know, you're so used to, I'm used to going into the gym and pushing without limitation. I'm used to pushing as hard as I want, taking sets to failure and beyond, lifting whatever weights I want, you know, using all my crazy techniques. And, you know, now I feel almost like gun shy. Like I feel like I'm going to be afraid. You know, even the first couple of days, I was afraid to just get up and walk around. I was afraid to lay down. Like every little thing made me scared. So now I feel like it's going to be a difficult thing to overcome to go back to the gym as much as I want to, because you just fear, you know, am I going to have another one? You know, even though you're told, oh, you have these stents in your heart, your blood flow is better now, you're not going to have another one. You still can't take away that fear so quickly. So I have that fear, and it's something I'm going to have to overcome. You know, the doctor, so far each doctor has said to me, who's worked with me, has said I will be able to go back to eventually to training as hard as I was able to before, because I do have that blood flow. Some even say I may even feel even better because maybe I was impaired when I didn't even know that I was. But it's going to take me some time. So I still have some things to work out in my mind about the actual event, what it means from here, and you know, just working through it in my mind. But I'll get there. I'll get there.
I was glad I went today also with you because, you know, the doctor was saying that in his mind there was no doubt that you'll be able to go back to exactly the same life you had before. And because you were so healthy, because you never drank, because you never smoked in your entire life, you know, probably the only two things that he could see was a problem was probably genetics, of course, you know, parents, you know, where you came from genetically, and also cholesterol. So compared to a lot of people who have heart attack and they have 5 or 6 things that they have to check, okay, smoking, bad nutrition, you know, high blood pressure, all that stuff, you have none of those things. So it's actually, you're probably the perfect client for them because, you know, there's a lot of things that they can actually check off the list, and there's only 2 things that needs to be monitored as far as you're concerned. So in his mind, he said today, it might take a little bit of time, but there's no doubt that you'll be able to go back to everything you were doing before without a problem. And yeah, so that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I have very little risk factors, and obviously genetics is the key. I mean, you know, I have a lot of heart disease in my family now that I have explored it. So I was prone to it. So even though my diet was excellent, I was exercising, you know, I probably was going to have this problem at some point. And of course, you know, I haven't been monitoring myself. I haven't been, you know, having any issues, so I wasn't like looking into my heart, so I figured everything was fine. You know, now obviously I'll be monitored to see if there's any problems. But yeah, that was really the biggest risk factor for me, as far as, like you said, my diet, my exercise, everything that they have problems with other people, getting them just to start exercising, to eat right, they don't have to worry about with me. So obviously my body genetically, when it comes to cholesterol, even if the foods that I'm eating are, you know, excellent, and I'm eating a lot of healthy fatty acids and vegetables, all those kinds of things, my body apparently turns cholesterol into plaque more easily than most people. You know, that's just something that's going to be watched. I'm going to have to take medication for it, and then hopefully it won't be an issue again in the future. So I mean the outlook, even though I had such a massive heart attack, my heart stayed in good shape. It did not incur damage, which wow. The surgeon himself said was absolutely incredible. Being that I had went through a 20-hour heart attack, the fact that my heart had no damage just is a testament to everything that I've been doing up till now, and that's what saved my life. Aside from you guys, Dave, you and my girlfriend Kim, getting me to the hospital, what saved me to get through the whole entire thing was my physical fitness, and we'll talk more about that as we go on. But yeah, looks like I should be as good as new, and hopefully back to myself pounding away at goals.
So How long is it until you come back over here, and what's the next step for you?
He wants me to come back in 4 weeks.
Do a stress
Somewhere
test
towards the end of October, we're going to do a treadmill stress test, and he really just wants to do that with me. I think almost to just prove to me that my heart can take it. He wants me to, go all out on the stress, really push it hard, breathing heavy and everything, getting out of breath, to show me that I'm healthy and that I'll be able to go back to my normal activity and be an athlete again. So in a weird way, I'm looking forward to my stress test in 5 weeks. But up until then, he said, if you have no issues, then just stay on your medication, keep recovering, do some light exercise, and you'll be okay.
Awesome. So we're going to cut it there, you guys. We're going to follow up with Eric, of course, in 4 more weeks. In the meantime, we may meet with Dr. Aran as well, because we have a lot of questions when it comes to hormone replacement therapy, TRT, and how can that affect someone with high cholesterol and all that stuff. So that's going to be a great episode we'll do with Eric and Dr. Aran in the following week. So stay tuned. Thanks, Biggie.
All right.